The following program is rated TVMA. This program contains topics and viewpoints from metaphysical professionals. Topics, conversations, insights, and experiences are meant for a mature adult audience and may not be suitable for younger viewers. All insights, experiences, and conversations contained in this show are meant as informational. Always consult either legal or medical professionals when needed. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to Terra Turas, the Metaphysical Roundtable. 5 professional readers coming together, including Brenda Lynn, Heather Lynn, Jamie Gibson, Reverend Pat Beers, Michael, and most importantly, you, the audience. Walk with us as we cover different aspects of the metaphysical and spiritual sides of life. Bring together our insight, experience, and discussion to a roundtable event. And now, here is tonight's host.
Hey everybody, welcome to Terra Turas. Thank you for waiting for us. We had some technical difficulty.
That's my fault.
We are now up and running. So we're here live every Wednesday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern. This time we're a little late, but we're going to get right to it. We're talking about setting intentions. Last week we talked about moving energy for the new year, kind of an out with the old, in with the new. And tonight we're going to talk about how we set intentions, how we understand intention setting, how we help clients with it, and how we use it in our own life. So basically, setting an intention is, well, I guess you could call it a goal. When you have a goal in mind or something you want to do, or it could be an energy that you want to vibrate to, like a frequency, a new frequency. You can intend for happiness and intend to draw happier people in. You can intend for success in your business. And, sometimes you just make the intention and then you figure out the how as the universe unfolds. So we are going to get right to it. And who am I going to pick on? I think I'm going to ask you, Pat, to talk first.
Oh, thanks. I was looking at Jamie. Happy New Year, everybody. It's about my thoughts are things and words have power. So I try to remind myself that not to get caught up in the, oh my gosh, I haven't, and what if, and try to just go forward, being a little more positive if I can, focusing on the good stuff that's been happening and just trying to see what I need to learn from things that aren't exactly going my way. And that happens to all of us. It's been a crazy year thus far as energies and electronics for me, and trying to, I feel I go 3 steps forward and a half step back, and that's better than going 2 steps back, but it's still frustrating. So I'm just trying to
still the cha-cha.
It's still the gotcha.
So there's still some movement. So what kinds of things do you do when you're intention setting? Do you have any rituals or prayers or thoughts or actions or anything like that you do when you're setting intentions?
Well, the first thing I do every morning is I say, it's either good morning, Lord, or good Lord this morning. And it's usually good morning, Lord. I thank my angels for going before me and removing all discordance from my path. Like we have dis-ease, meaning we're not feeling well. I ask them to please remove all discordance from my path. I thank them for helping me to accomplish the things that I need to accomplish today. If I'm calling someone, I ask them please, or if I'm calling someplace for help or clarification, I ask them for thank them for clearing my path that I can talk to the person that's going to understand and be able to assist me without having to talk to 15 people before I get to that person. I thank God for my home, my health, my family, my friends, and my pets. and for allowing me to be an instrument of the work. And so that's always how I start my day every day. And I bless the plants and animals that gave their lives that we may all be nourished. So that's just my.
That's a lot of intentions in one day.
A lot of intentions, but it's my intentions every day. And then at night, I thank God that my physical body rests while my etherical body does its work. Because have you ever noticed that if you start thinking about today and, oh my gosh, tomorrow I got to try to write a note beside the bed so that tomorrow morning when I get up, it's there.
What would your intention be around that?
Around which?
Well, your physical, around what you just,
yeah.
So your intention is to get good rest?
To get good rest. Because if I don't, then I start thinking about, oh, I forgot to, or oh my gosh, I didn't get the answer I needed about that, or what am I going to do about this? So I find that it helps me to focus. And sometimes if I'm really being good, I'll make a list and I'll mark things off as I accomplish them.
Yeah. Pen to paper is always really helpful.
Right.
Yeah. I guess when I'm listening to you talk, Pat, I'm feeling like I actually put intention into just about everything I do, like everything I touch. So you remind me of that, like a what do we call it? Like a living meditation, like meditation in everything you do. Yeah.
And you'll find that the days that you don't do something like that, days that I don't thank my angels for removing all discords from my path, or thanking my guides for helping me to contact, the days just don't go real well. You've talked to 5 people and you still haven't gotten the one that even has a clue to what you're talking about, so I find that to be the most thing I think that I do.
Yeah. Well, one of the interesting barriers that I notice when setting intentions, and gosh, I kind of watched a friend go through this a little bit today, is I can set the intention, but others are not necessarily going to cooperate with my intention. So that's sometimes I can get barriers thrown up like that. So, then it's kind of like, whoa, revamp. But I feel that a lot of times that's in the how part. Like, I will hear metaphysicians say, don't worry about the how, just set the intention. And so I can do that to an extent, but there always has to be some kind of action behind it, and I always have to remember that not everybody is going to cooperate. So I have to accept that and work with that and be flexible and still work toward whatever it was that I was intending.
Remember that old saying, the good Lord helps those who help themselves. So how many times do we try to help someone and they want you to do all the work so they could reap the reward? And it's like trying to explain to people, I can't help you if you're not willing to help yourself.
Right. And you could also phrase that as the universe will help you when you help yourself, or whatever it is that you identify with. Right. Yep.
As long as I think we are willing to put in our effort, the universe will help us. Yeah. But if we're going, okay, I want, I need, and that's it. Okay, I'm going to sit here and wait while you do that. It ain't going to happen.
Right. Heather.
Well, just like you said, there's so much intent in everything that we do. I feel like that's kind of what being aware is about, is living with intention. I really like when you said living meditation. That's really beautiful. And oh my goodness, if I don't set my intention, I find myself a lot, I kind of see like a teeter-totter in my head, just like off balance, kind of grasping. And then I have to really recenter myself and ground myself, grow my roots down. I breathe, and I'm like, okay, everything is falling apart here. And that happens intentionally, setting intentions, intentionally stuff falls apart sometimes.
Right.
And there's lessons in that. But at the same time, I think a lot of times for me, it's just kind of like my guide saying, hey, you need to pay attention. You're not being intentional about what it is that you're doing. So I do, like you said, a lot of pen to paper. And I just love to write, just getting stuff out on paper. And I think that just like you both said, when you set an intention, and I do a lot of, cosmic energy work, and I'm a very visual person too. So I just do a lot of visualizing of whatever it is just coming to me. And we create our own resistance, right? In all different kinds of ways. So I really love Pat's morning prayer. But really, inspired action is what really comes to mind, because I am guilty of getting really caught up in, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I didn't do that, what do I have? And I'm all over, and I have all these projects going. Okay. And I get so overwhelmed, and I'm like, what are you doing, Heather? You have waited. I am the biggest at like standing in my own way. I can't tell you how many readings I've had where they're like, your path is clear. Just you're in your way. And so I have to, remind myself to clear that path. And again, with what Pat said, just being intentional, setting that prayer. I like to use the Ganesh mantra every week, at least a couple times a week. I just sit and I om, and I'm like, okay, you're clearing my obstacles, and let me step to the side. That has been the one I've been working with the most is, okay, I see my path is clear. I know you're giving me small action steps to take. And when you take those action steps, you can feel it. You can feel that it was the right move. You can feel that, you're like, your angels are clapping in the background, like, she finally got it. Oh my gosh. So there's a lot of components to setting intentions and living it. I love that living meditation, because I feel like a lot of you that will watch this, and those of us here, we meditate, and it's just getting in that space, trying to clear out the muck. I know that I've been really doing my best at trying to lead with my heart and letting my mind take the back seat, letting my mind know, hey, you don't have to protect me, because that's what our mind likes to do. Our mind likes to try to protect us. And it's the logical part of us, right? But really, when we listen to our heart, you can feel what the best decision is, what your next step is. So it's, a culmination of all those things that really sets the intention on fire and blazes that path for us, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. And focus. That's something I heard with what you were talking about, is the focus. A lot of times, I will, whenever I'm coaching a client, doing some life coaching or whatever it is, I identify what it is, their thing, might be they don't stay focused. And so they end up sabotaging their intention or sabotaging themselves. And so they need help staying focused. Other times, they don't know. Sometimes we have to find the intention, and start from there. But that focus is a big one, because we can get spread so thin, that it can be hard to stay on top of things and keep our focus with it. Yeah.
It really is difficult to do. And I just have to share this very quickly. I am in school to be a naturopathic doctor, and this is something I've wanted to do for years. I manifested this opportunity. I cannot even explain the synchronicity. So here I am. I have like everything I've asked for right here in my hands. And I was speaking with a fellow classmate, and I was like, I'm so behind on homework. And she's like, I am too. And she just said, what's holding you back? And I was like, it was just that moment of awareness, that sinking in. It was like kind of a little bit of disappointment in myself. But mostly gratitude for the awareness that, oh,
Mm-hmm.
why am I fearing my own success? This is something I know I will be incredibly successful at and truly enjoy.
Right.
I'm afraid of my success, and I'm afraid of just being in my own power. And that is what is holding me back. And I'm like, I kind of get choked up talking about it, but it was like a huge in your face. Like, you have all this.
So you can take that experience that you just had with one of your instructors, and you can see where you're creating barriers to what your intention is.
Exactly.
So that lines right up with the focus, that focus that's so critical to stay focused on the intention. That's a huge one. Yeah. Yeah. So Jamie.
Yes.
What do you have? Yes.
Surprise. I do it a little bit differently than others.
No way.
I know, right? Right. Because I've always had, it's the analytical part of me and the creative part that go to war sometimes. So I have to do it a little bit differently. And for me, what I've learned is more going into the feeling of the intention, because I can be really good at just going on autopilot, saying the same thing over and over, and it's not even sinking into me, but it's being said. And I think other people do that too. You know, I think there's some people who do it where it's like, well, I'm saying it, why isn't it happening? And it's because you're not owning it, you're not feeling it, you're not there. So I also do, it's kind of mixed with the manifestation side of it, but I also do what I can to be in the future with it. I mean, be here now, but also what does it feel like in the future? And what do I need to do to get there? So again, that goes to that focus, but I kind of go at it a little bit differently than what other people are talking about here, because I go to feeling it. I go to being very mindful when I'm saying it. Because one thing that I've done often, unfortunately, is I'll start a little journal where it's like, okay, I'm going to write down 5 things I'm grateful for every day. And after a while, it's just like, oh, I got to do it again. I got to do it again. So I'm not in that gratitude place. I'm just doing a chore, So that's the thing. I feel like with intention, you got to get out of the chore space of it and into the excitement of where you're going.
Right.
Yeah.
And enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
To it. That's the thing.
And being open. You may have the intention and you think it's going to happen a certain way, but be open to the possibilities that it can happen a little bit differently. And you might go look at the big ball of twine instead of staying on the road, but you still get there.
Yeah. I remember when there are 2 things that come to mind. I forgot one of them, but I remember this one, which is when I first started doing this work, the owner of the store, who has actually become just like my little brother, he gave me a rating before I started working in his store. And he said, oh yeah, Brenda, you're meant to do this work, but it ain't going to look anything like you're thinking. So, surprise. I don't know. There was some pretty true words spoken there for sure. Yeah. And the flexibility, that falls into that how place.
Yeah.
There's some lines can get so blurred in that. How do you get clear with that?
Well, I mean, if you're not being flexible, you're in your own way, because it's got to happen this way, and you just keep hitting that wall and hitting that wall. But you're telling yourself, "I'm going to get through the wall. I'm going to get through the wall," and it's like, just move around the wall, take this road, So I feel like that's the big thing. It's like you have a very clear intention. That's the other thing. You've got to have real clear intention, not just kind of a nebulous, kind of cloudy view, but be open to how it comes to you and take the inspired action. And the inspired action is go around the wall, quit hitting it.
Right.
I love that. That's beautiful.
And so that is different from getting off focus, because that's what I was thinking. You know, our thing we talk about, squirrel. No,
Yeah.
wait a second, got to come back to it. You know, because
But
we
it's
can
not
find a lot of squirrels on
Yeah.
the journey if we're not enjoying it. You know,
Yeah. But I
Oh,
don't
a
think
lot of
it's
squirrels.
all that different, because you're just being open to, it's not necessarily a squirrel. It's being open to, oh, there's a different road over here that'll get me there too.
Yes,
That I wasn't
we just
aware
have to
of.
be able to recognize the difference between the two.
Right. So you still have that focus, but you're open
Right.
to that flexibility to try something different. And if it doesn't work, you can go back to the other road and hit the wall some more.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. Until another road opens up.
Well, but the thing about it is that when you're on the journey, you hit those walls, and you know, the thing that is sticking in my mind here, as you're talking, is to enjoy the journey to it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I have a huge intention with my mobile cafe right now, you know, and that is to get it going, you know, get it down the road, set it up, start feeding people,
Yeah.
you know, and so I've had a lot of barriers, and, you know, my intention was to have all the repairs done on my food truck a month ago, maybe more. But the problem is that, you know, people who do that kind of work are few and far between here. So, you know, I can't always get somebody to, you know, lock it down and get it done. So I've had to be flexible. I'm on my third person now, and trying to, you know, get through it.
But you're still moving forward. And that's
yes, exactly.
Don't let it stop.
I'm still moving forward.
Right.
I'm still focused, and I'm open to other ways to get it done. Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to ask you, so in my thing, I always say this delay is working in my favor. What are you showing me that I would not have seen otherwise? What's my lesson here?
Yeah. There are lessons in those walls we hit.
Yeah.
But it's really good, like Jamie said, to hit that wall for a little bit, and then learn and go around it. Find a better way.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if I don't do that, I'm going to be looking for squirrels.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
We're doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different
New
outcome.
result.
Right.
Yeah. And
Here's
it's
your
going to be the
squirrel.
same thing. Right. And that's where that focus is so important. Yeah. Yeah. So Michael,
Here we go.
you ready to share?
Do you know I had everything all lined up for you? So I'm going to stop and say, here, you go and tell us, because you're always pointing at everybody else. So this time I'm just going to stop and say, okay, first, how do you,
What do I do?
Brenda, do intention?
All right, I'll let you by with that. I was
Uh-huh.
going to get your feedback first, and then I was going to go. All right. So there are a lot of things that I do when it comes to setting an intention. I have done everything from Reiki crystal grids, and I'll talk about what exactly that is, to tarot readings on a wall that I would like to have. So I'll pick my cards and put them in the right position. I'll make a copy of it, and then I'll put it on the wall, kind of like a vision board. And a vision board is another way that I do. And I've actually done a lot of vision boarding workshops, along with a manifesting type of a meditation, like a guided meditation that I do, that guidance gave me. And what else do I do? I do a lot of things. It depends on what I'm in the mood for. Sometimes I will write a letter, maybe, to my future self, thanking myself and the universe for getting me through these things, you know, or I will write other things, like, okay, this is my intention. I'm not sure how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to try this and see, but I try to stay focused. It's almost like a business plan to me when I do something like that. And I got to be careful because I can get really rigid. I'm a doer. I'm a dreamer and a doer. And we're kind of a rare breed, I think, but I get it done and I dream and you know what I mean? I'm a thinker, feeler, dreamer, doer, and so just kind of pulling that all into one place. Now, the crystal grids with Reiki is similar to the reading. Usually I use I've got a big clear crystal point that's real thin, and it's got beautiful inclusions and stuff in it. And that is the center. That's like what I'm trying to manifest. And then I put other crystals around it that represent certain things like spirituality, love, prosperity, whatever it is that I'm trying to accomplish. And so I might take that letter that I wrote to my future self, or a certain prayer or something, and I'll write it down and I'll put it under the grid so that it's there. After I Reiki it, I put it under the grid, and then I connect everything in like a circle. So if you were to look at it like from above, it would look like the main, what I'm trying to manifest, and all of these crystals around it that all have an impact on the how part. And then I connect those things with things that are like strong conduits of energy, like little pieces of copper, maybe some selenite, and maybe some other clear crystals or something like that. And I make it really pretty. I think that's the key to like your vision board or your crystal grid, or if you're manifesting in a notebook, you want that notebook to be pretty and decorated so that you feel like you want to go to it. It needs to feel good. Like Jamie was saying earlier, it's got to be a feel good thing. So we want to feel good about going to it. And then just, keep at it every day. So like with my crystal grid, I'll give it Reiki every day. What else do I do? Those are primarily the things that I do. And I suggest those things for clients too. Yeah. We'll talk more about how we work with clients after our break as well.
I do that too with the grid, but instead of the crystal in the middle, I use like 7-day candles and then just let it burn for 7 days. Of course, going to it multiple times in those 7 days, to touch. Yes. But, the 7-day candle burning over it. Yes. Just like that works really beautifully too.
That's awesome. And it reminds me of my Dressed and Blessed candles, which are another form of manifesting, where I put spiritual oils in. So you get a 7-day candle and a skewer, and you put the oil, I usually do 3 holes all the way down, and then add oil. And the color of the candle matters. What chakras am I going to work with? Where am I creating from? Usually it's sacral chakra for me. And so that might be the place I'm creating from. And then I add the oils. We used to, in the store that I worked at, we used to sprinkle fairy dust in there, and a crystal or little crystal grits, little, what am I trying to say? Just little things like tiny little peridot, can go in there if we're manifesting for prosperity and love or joyful abundance. And then always sage on top. So when the candle is lit, the sage burns right at the top of the candle, and it clears it all out, like clears the path. That's the way I envision it. It clears the path. It puts a clean canvas on my intention.
Yeah. You can do all that without crystals too. I mean, using things that mean something to you. It doesn't have to necessarily be crystals, I think. But if it's something, like Heather said last week, she brought home some leaves and things from her trip,
kind of
So you could put those around. Anything that
I have a
means
big chunk of moss on my altar.
yeah. But I mean, it's kind of like, what you need to make it personal, not necessarily what it says in the books, step by step by step, always personal to you. That's going to make it powerful.
Right. Good stuff. Okay, Mike, now you.
She's like, all right, you're it, dude. Dude. It is ironic that intention is our focal point this evening, especially with me running behind in so many things. For everybody that is watching the show, I'll apologize because it is actually my end of the stick that all fell apart, and the rest of the ladies were all waiting, unfortunately, before I could even get to them to say, hey, I'm running a little bit behind, and so my apologies for having a rough kind of eating thing. When I talk with people about intention, I have to tell you that I add a secondary step, and as Brenda had mentioned, we're going to be talking next week about the third step, the actual really carrying through and making it happen, which is manifestation. But it is directly odd for me because I tell people we have intention, and then I couple it together with their desire. And I tell them, look, you can have a goal, but now we need, for the intention, for them to set the intention and really understand it, they need to be able to say, why do I have that goal? And I would honestly think it's probably me being the male side of life, and so logical in steps and thoughts and what to do or what not to do. But I find that I agree an awful lot when I hear Jamie talking about this feeling. Because when I help them break down and say, okay, here's my goal over here. My goal is I'm going to go to the store. That's awesome. Let's all go to the store. I love doing it. Why are we going to go to the store? If we're going to go to Walmart and we don't really have a good reason why, what happens? We impulse buy. We come home with things that we really didn't want. That new toilet scrubber that we really didn't need. And we wind up with all this stuff. And unfortunately, it makes us angry. Honest to God, it frustrates the hell out of all of us because we'll sit here and say, I had the intention to go to the store and these are the things that I wanted. Well, big bad word, what?
Really? A toilet scrubber, Mike? I
could have picked anything else.
Honest to God, Pat can attest to this, and I'm going to put this back to so everybody can see everybody's face. Pat can attest to this. It was the first time that I ever saw the Lysol toilet wands that they have, the toilet scrubbers. And it was at a midnight moon up in Sandusky, Ohio. Because Donna Bretz, the owner of the store, is a germaphobe, the same one that I am. And it's like, oh my God, that's got to be the most horrendous thing to have to scrub the toilet. And she had this handy thing, and I went, oh my God, that's magic. And I immediately came home, and I had to buy one, and then one for the other. But honest to God, see, she's laughing because she knows it's true.
Okay, so Mike, your intention to go to Walmart without a list
see what happens?
Extra toilet scrubbers. Carry on.
It is the oddest of things because we have, if we do not set our intention, we will come home with all of these things that we didn't want that is frustrating. Then we're angry because we overspent. We spent way too much time. Now we're late for other appointments, like me. And, so if we don't set our intention, okay, our goal is to go to the store, but we only need 4 things from Walmart. While we put that list, that intention together, we might meander around Walmart for a little while and say, okay, hey, okay, that might want to have that. But we keep these 4 things in our mind, our actual intention of going to the store. Coupled right behind that, and I tell people the next thing that you need to do, that's your intention. You've got a goal, you've got the intention. And when you finally find the right reasons, that feeling that Jamie was talking about, the intention really sets home. And you feel it. Because if you go, hey, I'm going to go to Walmart for cookies and the toilet scrubber, and maybe I might get the new shower curtain, it doesn't feel right. It feels horrible. And that's when we have problems. But when we come to the point of saying our intentions are A, B, C, and it feels right, we know that we're going to begin an automatic kind of success, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, it's just that clarity. You're more clear because you got a list. So you get done what you need to get done.
It's a way to keep the focus.
Yeah.
Yes. Focus.
The second part that I've got.
Bringing that up.
The second part that I've got right behind it is desire. How bad do you want to create your goal, and how bad is your intention? Is it just a little bit? I might want to go to Walmart. Maybe I don't. I don't know. So if you don't have a good intention to go right along, or have the good desire to go along with your intention, again, we're going to fumble and falter. If we don't have a clear-cut understanding of why we want to do something, and then this real urge, desire to go, I really want that, we're going to fall apart. We're going to have issues. We might get halfway to our goal and not achieve what
because
we
we
want.
really want it.
Yeah, how bad do you want it? Why do you want it, and how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
That's before you even walk out the front door. And like Jamie said, you've got to feel it. You really have to feel what this is. Know what you want, and how bad do you want to get it before you even think about starting off. Now, this is again for me. I'm not telling everybody you've got to do it this way. No, not at all. It's just when I work with people, when I coach people, and I tell them, you've got to know what you want, and you have to know how bad do you want it. Because if it's not pegging between an 8 and a 10, from a 1 to 10, don't do it. Mm-hmm. It's not the right time.
It's like if it's not your heart's desire.
Exactly.
If it's your head's desire, not going to happen, guys.
Right. That's why I was wondering when you were saying, why do, you'd ask a client, well, you need to know why you want it. I get a little lost there personally, because I think, like sometimes I need to manifest chocolate. I just need to manifest it right now. And if you were to ask me, well, why do you want to manifest that? Why do you have that intention? Because I like it.
Yes,
right?
Because it tastes good.
That should be the answer.
And in the end result, you probably know this is something that you really want, and there are reasons why.
Because I like it. I love it.
And you might
want... I have
want...
a German chocolate bar in my bag. If you...
So you want chocolate for what reason? Yes, you want to eat it just because you want to eat it, but you more than likely want the chocolate simply for the effect that it has on your physiological body.
Yeah. Magnesium.
Right.
Calms you down. Is a little bit of a personal reward. I accomplished this, or I didn't.
Makes you feel
that person, and
Exactly.
Yeah. Balances out hormones, but I don't care about that when I need to manifest chocolate. My taste buds want a party.
Okay. Then comes that part of desire. If you don't have any in your house, how bad do you want it? Are you going to put your nappy little butt in your vehicle and drive down to the gas station and get some?
Yeah. My one friend is always shocked because I can have 6 little pints of ice cream in my freezer and not touch any of them. And I'm okay because I know that they're there. But if there's no ice cream in the freezer, I'm jonesing for it like crazy. And it's like the doors open at 2 a.m. But if it's in my freezer, I don't even care. I just have to know it's there, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, she goes to Walmart and comes home with a toilet scrubber. See? See?
In 6 gallons instead of 6 pints.
Right.
So.
I don't think anyone else on this panel, Mike, besides you, would go to Walmart for something and end up going, oh my God, that toilet scrubber, I gotta have it.
I would.
Maybe Jamie.
Jamie is one. Okay.
See?
All right.
It's not
Not
just
that I'm
me.
looking for it, but if I happen to see it and I'm bored, it's like, oh wow, that's cool.
Exactly. Oh,
I'd rather cut off my finger than have to spend money on a new toilet scrubber. So
It's like an infomercial at 2 a.m. You know.
yeah, the infomercial. I finally bought a mop, and I've lived at my apartment a year and a half. It's like, do I really have to spend $20 on a stupid mop? Maybe my floors want to be sticky.
No, you have to have the intention of a clear floor.
You can get on your hands and knees. That's what I do.
Yeah.
It's the way my mom taught me. So
That's why they make Swifters.
Yeah.
So let's take a break, and when we come back, we can talk about maybe some stories and talk about how we help clients with manifestation. What kind of workshops do we teach? What do we do there with that? Yeah. So let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Divine Awakenings New Age Emporium and Healing Arts Shop. It's the largest locally owned and operated metaphysical retailer in the Sandusky, Ohio Tri-County area. Serving the Firelands region since April of 2014, they're pleased to offer a space that is welcoming, relaxing, and open to everyone. In the Emporium, you will find a variety of unique gifts, special events and services, as well as classes and workshops to soothe your mind, body, and spirit. If you're in the Sandusky, Ohio area, look for Divine Awakenings at 1006 Tiffin Avenue, Sandusky, Ohio. Their phone number is 419-502-9137, and you can find them on Facebook at /Divine Awakenings LLC.
And we're back. So Heather was just talking about it's hard not to talk about manifesting when we're talking about setting intentions. And next week, we're going to be talking about manifesting moving forward here. This is part of our trilogy, our 3-part. So tonight is all about how we set intentions. We are all intuitive readers and coaches. And so we coach our clients through some of these processes and recognize some of the barriers that keep people from really getting to their goals. And so, we're going to talk about that next. So Heather, what do you do? How do you help your clients with manifesting?
Oh gosh. Well, I have to say I work mostly with women. That's just how it happens, I guess. But really, I feel like so many of us are so busy, and maybe we attract people that have things that we need to also work through. Maybe that's how it works. But our society expects us to be multitaskers, right? Like we're supposed to be doing 6 things at the same time. And that's the norm. And getting out of that space and getting them out of that space of I have to do 12 things. I mean, I caught myself at work doing it today. I was like literally doing homework. I'm talking on the phone, doing some business. I'm answering, messages about this car and fixing this with this. And I wasn't like stressed out about it. I was just doing it along my own little piece by piece, but I find that things don't come together like you want them to. So when I talk to my beautiful ladies, I really talk to them about, sounds really simple, but breathing. I like to do breathing exercises with them. I like to teach things like alternate nostril breathing, and just really creating that space that allows you to set the intention or intentions, so that you have a clearer mind, so that you're able to get to that focus and to that desire, like Mike was talking about. How bad do you want it? And I really like what he said, hit home for me, the 8 to 10. If it's not an 8 to 10, you don't need to do it. You don't need to do it right now. So that's kind of what I tell people, how bad do you want it? How bad is your desire to have this? And I think a lot of us seem to really struggle with the action, and you're like, you want to either do nothing and sit there and wait. You're like, okay, I set my intention, I'm pure, I've saged everything, I've meditated every day for an hour and a half, and and you're like, okay, I'm good, it's coming to me. Well, when you really clear that space and clear your mind and set the intention, then you can open yourself up to receive the messages of what's the next action step. And the last couple of years of my life that's been a big lesson for me, is not really knowing what's coming next. I have this vision, this incredibly clear vision for my future. But again, bring it back to the attention of now and what is the action step. So a lot of times for me, it's just working with people to find that real desire. What are your intentions and how do we break it down so that we're leading from our heart, so that it's a heart-based intention and a heart-based project, a heart-based desire. Because that's when you get all the feels, that's when you're on the right track. And for me, teaching them the breathing exercises really it helps with everything. I mean, my professor said not too long ago, to breathe is to feel. And for a reason that just really seems so profound to me, when we stop, when we breathe in our intention, we talked in the beginning, when we don't set an intention for the day, I mean, my day can crumble. I can crumble quickly. And then I have to literally center myself. I put my hand to my heart and I breathe. And I breathe into that intention. What is your intention? So those are the kind of things that I like to work through with my clients as well. A lot of us are just that busy mindset and that really, that lack of focus. It's like we're focused on so many things at once. Right. What are we really focused on?
Yeah. And, you know, I imagine that you have a lot to offer with that, because you are working on an intention that is long-term, and you're doing something now that is a step to it, you know, so that you're earning your living and doing what you need to do to get there, you know, or to float you from here to there. And so that is a part to me of like the journey that I was talking about earlier, because I was thinking on the break, you know, when Mike was saying why and how bad do you want it? I think there's another question that I'll ask my clients or myself, is that, can I enjoy the journey to it? Because sometimes the journey can be really long and hard. And certainly, you know, if you're going to school for naturopath, you got heck of a curriculum, and that's a long-term intention. That is more than the intention for the day, for sure. So I bet you have a lot to offer your clients with that, like a lot of direct experience. And man, that experience matters. Like when we're learning how to set our intentions, and I always say, when we've cleaned up our house, then we can help others clean up theirs, but we need to get ours cleaned up first, right? So yeah, that's good that you're doing that.
I've enjoyed the journey for sure. I think that's, again, one of the biggest lessons, is just enjoying it. And I bring myself into that attention sometimes. I mean, there are days, there are kids. I have 3. The oldest one is 6. The youngest one is 1.5 years. So, I mean, it's just crazy, not bad crazy, but just crazy. And so I really just, that awareness of what is my intention for right now. And, you know, that kind of guides me. And it gives you experience to help guide other people in those ways as well.
Yeah, because you have a long-term intention with them too, which is to grow them up into happy, healthy, productive adults, right? So that's the long-term. Yep. And that's another long journey to it, right? Yep. I've been through that. Been there, done that. Let's see. Pat.
Yes, ma'am. I think what I do, oftentimes there's a fear factor here. Oh my gosh, what if it happens? What's going to happen to me if it happens? Oh my. So I say, okay, so your best friend, you're trying to help your best friend. They're trying to get from here to there, and they don't know how they're going to do it. What would you tell them? They have the same goal you do. How are you going to tell them to approach it? Because now I've taken the emotion out of it, and I'm making them look at it from an entirely different point. It's like, oh, how can I help with this? And oh my gosh, you know, I'm a big fan of the prayer of Jabez, so that you would bless me indeed, enlarge my territory, that you would keep your hand with mine, and that you would keep people from me, so I may not harm others. And I'll often hand people that card, the clerk, whatever, and say, try this for a week and see what happens. And even my friends will go, you're crazy. And I've been doing it for over 7 years. And we don't always get exactly what we're seeking, but it seems to open another door or put us on the right path, or wow, I never thought about that, you know. So it's like paying attention to the little things that come to us. And you were talking about vision boarding, The Secret, asking it as given. Rhonda Byrne's The Magic. I got my daughter to do that because she's got one of them logical heads, and she's very intuitive. She's very psychic. Don't talk to me about that. I don't want to. Mom, no, well, now she's just more and more. I can manifest like nothing I've ever seen, but she's learning how to use it. So we just have to kind of step back. And the breathing thing, I will, to calm people down, I'll tell them to close their eyes, take a deep breath in through their nose, hold it to the count of 4, and then blow it out through their mouth with as much force as they can muster and declare divine order. And I'll have them do it 3 times. And they go, and they'll do the third one. I say, now what you've done is you're saying, okay, gang, I need a little help down here, because you breathe in the pure white light of the universe and God and everything good. You let it go through your body. You blow out the stress and the anxiety. And you just, if you try it, you watch, you feel your shoulders come down. I've been going to the same since he first opened his practice, probably good 20 years now. He came in one day, and it's when they were switching from paper to computers, and he was just frazzled. I said, Doc, sit. He sat down. He says, what? And I said, I just want you to close your eyes for a minute. And I had him do this. He goes, why didn't you tell me that 10 years ago? I said, you never ask. So it just kind of seems to, it changes. It was a paradigm shift, Michael. It changes that state we're in and gets us to stop and go, oh, okay. Yeah. It's going to be all right. Yeah.
Yeah, timing is interesting when it comes to intentions too. One of the things I was thinking about when both you and Heather were sharing is that sometimes we might think we have an intention and then get kind of down the road into it and go, whoa, you know, this is not what I had in mind. and need to revamp. And a lot of times I'll have clients who don't know what their intention is. They're just miserable, you know, and have been for a long time. And so they need help finding their intention. And that's always an interesting process. I love that process.
When they get frustrated, I have a little sign on my, it's a quote from one of my girlfriends. Well, I have 2 things out there, but one of them is in time, on time, ahead of time, all the time, but the universe time, not my time. And then I have a little plaque that says, as children bring their broken dreams, their broken toys to Dad for him to mend, I brought my broken dreams to God because he was my friend. But then instead of leaving him in peace to work alone, I hung around and tried to help with ways that were my own. And at last I cried to him, how could you be so slow? And my child, he said, what could I do? You never did let go. So sometimes we get so focused on where we're trying to go, we don't see all the little road signs that are saying, oh, no, come over here, go this way. Then we'll go around the block and we'll come back, you know. And we're just like, I'm not going here. I want to go. And it doesn't work. Patience.
Yep. Well, sometimes we got to see how we can help let go, or help someone let it go, or help our own selves let it go.
Help our own selves.
Yeah. So Jamie.
I work with a lot of, what I get is a lot of people who get in their way. They may have a big desire and a pretty clear intention, but they don't feel like they deserve it. They're saying they deserve it, but you can feel that they don't believe that, which is going to screw it up because it's just going to be a stalemate all across the board. So I do more of the, often I find that they're afraid, they like to be under the radar, but wouldn't it be great if I was like this major singer, but they want to stay in the background. And it's like, so I try to help them get to that space of get out of your comfort zone a little more and a little more. And again, I go to that feeling, what's it going to feel like when you're there, so that they can get that clarity. And then similar to, I think Pat said, you know, talk to yourself like you're talking to your best friend. What would you say to your best friend? Now say it to you. You know, you would tell your best friend they deserve this. You would tell your best friend, or they would, you know, so I just try to turn it around that way, because when we're in our own minds, sometimes the fear, the desire is there, but sometimes the fear is bigger. And so I work more with trying to calm the fear down so that you can create that desire that you want. Does that make sense? So so I just kind of go into that place, but then I also have those people who, you know, they want something, and I'm like, well, you'll have this at this point, but there's these steps along the way, or, you know, you'll meet the one you're going to marry, but you know, you're going to meet a couple other people first. And they're like, oh no, I'm not going to bother with the other people. I just want that one. And I said, you're getting in the way. You're supposed to meet these other people. Right. You're supposed to do these other things first. Just be open, you know? Right. But so I work more with, you know, people getting in their way. I get in my way. So that's why I can resonate pretty well with them. I get in my own way pretty regularly these days. So, yeah. And, you know, and I know for all of you guys, for everybody that I know, excuse me, who does this kind of work, we tend to draw to us clients who are just like us.
What we need. Yep.
Yeah. They're going through something.
I was just going to say that.
So while you're telling them these things, it's like, you know, you're getting hit on the back of the head. Like, are you listening? It's like, yes.
Did you hear that one?
Yeah. And if not, I'm going to bring you 6 more people just like this.
Until you are sick of it.
Yeah.
How many times do you have to learn the same lesson?
Yeah.
Oh, hit the small one more. Oh, dang it. Round. But I might have to learn it like a couple more times.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just, you know, it's more going into the fear and the deserving and this, you know, the innocent, getting that clarity. I mean, clarity is a big thing to set intention with.
Yes.
But like Mike said, you can go to Walmart and get all these things, and that's not what you intended, but you went to Walmart. So, you know, you just have to be really clear.
I love that analogy, though. It just makes it so real and practical and relatable when you say it like that. It's
yeah. Yeah. I also had, I'd worked with Mark Allen a few years ago. He's got this really great book, and he touts himself as the laziest person in the world, but he created New World Library, you know, and he's a big publisher and everything. But one of his books, The Millionaire Course, the big thing in that, the big takeaway is write your perfect scene. What does the perfect scene look like 5 years from now? And don't hold back. And then from there, you can create your intentions of, okay, I want to do it this way. I want to do it this way. You know what I mean? So that's a really helpful clarity kind of thing to get to, is write down your dream. You can always change it. You can always tweak it. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it to be clear.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah.
I have a lot of hard times getting to that point. You know what I mean? Like, not me personally, but like you said, that we're so busy and everything, just clearing the space for that.
Yeah.
Process.
Yeah. But you could just write it on a piece of paper and keep it in your pocket, in your purse, whatever, and pull it out and add to it, you know, or fine tune it or whatever, when you get, you know, 3 free minutes while you're waiting at the doctor's office or something.
Yeah, another way to do that is to carry a crystal that reminds you of that. Yeah. And so you put it in your pocket, or you in your bra, or you know, something. You know, you touch it at least twice a day. Yeah.
I don't have one of those.
Why am I touching this thing again? Oh yeah,
it's have pockets.
Yeah.
You have pockets. Right?
Pockets, yes. I have pockets.
And I bet you have a story too, and some insight.
We'll talk about we'll talk about the intention and desire. We won't talk about where Pat keeps her phone.
Not anymore. It's right here.
Cracked me up the entire weekend.
That's when I had a flip phone, ladies.
When see, I'm sitting here laughing about that because it's just hilarious. I'm going to take a squirrel moment. Did I tell you, ladies, when Pat and I had to go to Indiana, when we went to Indiana together, where she kept her phone because she didn't.
I don't think the audience has heard.
Pat and I traveled to a metaphysical show to read for the weekend outside of Indianapolis, over by Chesterfield. And she had a little flip phone, and she did not want to keep it on the table because she didn't want it interrupting clients and things like this. So she puts it in her bra. You know, little flip phone. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I hear, deedle-leedle-leedle, deedle-leedle-leedle. I went, Pat, your boobs are ringing. She goes, do you want to answer it? And I'm like... So the next day, she keeps it in her bra, And I wasn't even thinking, because I didn't bring my phone I wasn't even thinking. I said, Pat, can I borrow your phone? She goes, you going to get it? And I'm like, oh my God. And this is what I had to deal with all weekend. It was just hilarious. It's one of the things that I love about her. Her sense of humor never, ever stops. Honest to God, even when things are going horribly wrong, it's one lady that I have watched that just, she'll laugh about everything, because to her, if she lets it get all down, she knows where she's going to spiral down to, you know? So she just keeps everything lighthearted. And anybody that knows Pat would understand exactly how she is, just like that. Just hilarious. When we talk about intention and desire, when I work with people, I try to tell them, and if they don't get it right away, or they don't think that setting the intention and the desire in the process of manifesting is really going to work, I'll stop and I'll show them, okay, let's take something on your goal that really doesn't have a lot of interest, you know, and you really don't want to have to do it. And we're going to take a week. Now, we're going to try to make that happen. No matter what, we're going to try to make this in particular thing happen. So on the scale of 1 to 10, intention is probably at about a 4, and desire might be at about a 2.5. And we know this going into this entire week. So we get to the end of the week, what happens? All kinds of mayhem and chaos have happened during this week. Because, again, they went to Walmart and they had free time, free money, and they came home with stuff they didn't want. So then I tell them, let's turn around now and set the real intention. We know that we want to go to the store. Let's find out why. And then let's give it that goal and say, this is something we seriously want to do. And let's come back again in another week and let's gauge this again and see what's happening. And honest to God, most of the time people come back and they will say, I can't believe not only did this kind of thing happen, I got this offer from over here, or wow, I got the promotion at work that I wasn't expecting, or out of the blue, you know, I got this, it was by coincidence that I got it. No, folks, it's not coincidence. It's because your intention, your desire, and you are walking your path to where you want to go. It's right. That little secondary reward system that seems to come along with it. You're doing well, you're happy, you're manifesting the things that you want. Spirit in the universe goes, oh, hey, here, have this. Let's make you a little more happy. And then you giggle all week long because you got this. It started at the beginning of the week. And you hit the weekend and you are just you're ready to go. You're ready to party. You're ready to have a good time. Other people around you at your work environment, Friday comes along, they're like, oh, thank God it's the weekend. And you're like, no, come on. We want to keep going, man. So it's that setting and helping people understand what the intention and the desire is really doing. It's not just a mindset. Look around you and see what's going on with it.
Sometimes I tell people they don't need an attitude change. They need a latitude change.
That's good.
Wholeheartedly true. What was it? Johnny Depp. There's a meme that always runs around on Facebook. Pirates of the Caribbean, Johnny Depp said, it's not the problem that is the problem. It's your attitude towards the problem that is the problem.
Yeah.
You know, and people forget that. Big time. I forget it all the time until I stop. You know, like Jamie said, spirits whack me in the back of the head enough. I'm going to stop and pay attention now.
Mm-hmm. But most of the time we go, eat.
Right. Yeah.
Like story.
You know, a lot of times when I'm working with a client, Jamie brought this up earlier, I think, talking about coaching. You know, a lot of times, like a client will call with the intention to connect or reconnect with a certain somebody that is an ex. And, you know, they think that person is the only one for them. And, you know, when I'm working with a client, I try to help them see that, it's really not the actual person. It is what you think that person makes you feel. And so you equal that to that person, but that is not, in fact, the only person. And how do you know that you're not limiting yourself? By insisting on just that person, because somebody else might bring you more joy and more happiness. That's kind of where we get the focus, and it's all we can relate to is what we know. I know I've been happiest when I was with him or with her, and so that's what I want, him or her, but it's not him or her. You're wanting to create a relationship with somebody that you have a good chemistry and good compatibility with. So, it doesn't actually have to be that person. And I think that's a lot of times where the flexibility comes into play.
Yeah. I tell people in those situations, take so-and-so's face out of this. When you think of relationships, take their face out of it, and just, what do they represent? How did you feel when you were with them, when it was good?
Right.
How did you feel when you were with them? And then start saying a mantra on a regular basis. I'm open to being happy, however it looks. I'm open to being happy in my entire life, however it looks.
Right.
A lot of times you're going to pull that energy to you. It may not be that face, but it's going to be that feeling that you.
Right. And a lot of people who think that, the house, the two kids, the dog, the cat, the white picket fence, the spouse, that equals happiness. Yeah. And do you know for how many years I tried to cram my square pegged self into that round hole? And that's not where my happiness lies. And I think, well, that's kind of a bummer, because I was hanging on to an idea that equals happiness, because that's what they say. That's what everybody says. So part of my coaching is to oftentimes remove the human influence, the others and what others have to say about it, and let's take an approach of, so you've got the white picket fence, you've got the spouse, you've got the cat, the dog, all of that. And so how come you're so miserable if that equals happiness?
Yeah.
Because it is what makes you happy. That's the place, where we're finding the intention is like, it doesn't make you happy. So that has to be accepted before we can even move into any kind of a new intention.
Yeah.
And that can be a really interesting thing to coach someone through. Including coaching myself through it, because it's like, no, I have to achieve it because that's success, that's happiness.
Yeah,
exactly. And the other thing is, I don't know if I've said it here yet before, but I don't play well with others. So I was cramming myself into, again, my square pegged self into a round hole at corporate USA, and I had fancy titles like director of corporate communications, and director of corporate training, and la foo foo wee wee, and it just didn't work. Because since I don't play well with others on that end, all kinds of character defects were showing up for me, and so I had to start creating and intending. First thing was to intend for happiness in my career. And I was not going to find it in corporate USA. So, I decided I want to work with the grain of myself, not against the grain of myself, because I was working against. And so now, I work independently. I'm self-directed. I don't like people hovering over me. I don't need a whole lot of direction. I can be self-directed. That doesn't work very well in a corporate environment either. They say they want people like that, but I beg to differ. So now everything, what I bring to work and what I bring to my career, I have positive characteristics toward, not character defects. And so that's how, like, starting from raw, like, I don't know what's wrong. That's where I get to that. That's where I find the intention. Yeah.
I think it's because I am more, again, the guy here. I try, when I'm working with people, I try to tell them, look, much like Jamie, take the actual person out of the equation when you try to do things.
Right.
But secondly, take the event out of it as well. You're never going to recreate that perfect moment of happiness that you experienced a decade ago. It's not going to happen. But you can come very close in recreating the feeling and the emotion of being that happy.
Yeah.
You know, don't try to recreate what was, because when you do, you might achieve something very close to that, but you're going to recreate and manifest all the garbage that went with it. Stop doing
I
that.
just got scenes of Stephen King novels in my head.
Mhm.
Whoa.
I'm like, oh,
Yep.
that's fun.
It's what people,
True.
you know, they sit there and they try to recreate this exact same thing with another person, especially if you're talking relationship. Well, I was so happy when. Don't do that, because you're going to bring that stuff from that relationship and you're going to cram it into your new relationship, and then you're going to be twice as upset about it.
Right,
Go for the
because
feeling.
then you're trying to resolve your old stuff in a new relationship. It never works, and we don't want to. That's why a lot of times we got to clear the slate.
Yep.
Yeah, and we are coming close to the end here of our time. So
Again, my apologies, ladies, for running so far behind this evening. That was my entire on my end of the ballywick. I'll try to make sure that we don't experience that again. I'll take steps to make sure it doesn't happen.
we lived through it and everything.
Yes. Toilet wands included.
Stuff happens. Stuff happens all the time.
Do you know
Remember,
I'm going to be...
Thankful you're here and you're okay.
Yeah, that was our concern.
That was the important thing. As long as you're okay, the show will go on when it is.
I'm going to buy a box with that Lysol toilet wand, and I'm going to set it here next to me next week. I have managed to clean all of the stuff out.
I can't believe it.
That'll be your logo, Mike.
Yeah, toilet
Put
brush.
it on your business card.
Yep. Yeah. Da-da. I don't need a wand. I got a toilet wand. Ta-da!
The wizard and his wand.
Yep. Harry Potter ain't got nothing on me.
Yep.
I just want to remind everybody that thoughts are things and words have power. What you speak, you create. What you think, you create. So if you catch yourself being kind of crazy, just stop, take a deep breath, and start over.
I have to say one thing, if that's okay, before we go. Yes, and
go right ahead.
For frick's sake, focus. That's my message tonight. Love, Brenda. Focus, Heather. So Mike reminded me, I listened to Abram Hicks most of the time in the morning, and I just love to hear all of the awesome things she has to say. And one of the stories she told one day was about, because we have a tendency to set the intention and then we create resistance to it, because like you guys are saying, where we might not quite feel worthy of it and stuff. And she was, they did this whole little skit, and she was like, okay, talking about, one of them was blue glass. And she just went on and on, was like blue glass, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And, the whole point was, when you set an intention for something and you have no resistance to it, it's going to come to you in the most expected ways. So you're going to blue glass this, blah, blah, blah. And then you're going to go in the store and there's going to be like a blue glass display, or you're going to be scrolling through Facebook and there's going to be like advertising for blue glass, or you're going to go, and it's just going to show up in all of these synchronistic ways. And so I just wanted to bring that to everyone's awareness that our desire, yes, to bring in that real heartfelt desire needs to be up there with the 8 to 10. But if you want a really good example of, you know, bringing stuff in, think of something really little that you have resistance to. Butterflies, blue glass, something really simple. And just kind of clear your mind and set the intention for it and forget about it. And see what ways that intention of the blue glass or of the butterflies comes into your life, because it's pretty magical. That's all.
Can I just say, Heather, I've been seeing butterflies all over the place for 2 days, and then you're talking about butterflies. It's
Okay.
just, I'm like,
Check this out. I pulled this card before we started the show. We started it late, and I pulled this card, and there's like, the whole card is gray and black, and there is a green butterfly on.
Yep. Butterflies are all around me right now.
Transformation.
Yeah.
You know,
For sure.
My friends get upset with me because when I go with them and we go, and if I'm driving, we have a parking spot, a wonderful parking spot. How do you do that? I thank my angels and guides. I thank the universe for getting me a good parking spot. It's that simple. It's that simple.
Yep.
It is.
I wanna say in my little closing thing here is that you know, there's a part of setting an intention is making a decision at your core, just at your core self. When you are mulling over something or deciding which direction to go, or should I do it or shouldn't I, or, you know, anything like that, there's something, you know, or even leaving a relationship is like the perfect example, because people will think, well, I don't know what I'll do after. I know that it's toxic. I know that it's not good for either one of us, but I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden something clicks because they make that decision. And then all of those fears and all of those barriers magically just fall away. And a clear path. A lot of times you just have to really make that decision. That is not something that can be forced. That's an organic process. It's literally an organic process. And, you know, all of a sudden timing is right and things fall away. You can even start with that kind of an intention, you know, to start an intention if you don't know what your intention is.
Yeah, that's what worked with me with the move. And I think for you too, Brenda, with the move this year. It's just once I made that clear, this is what I'm going to do, the things that happen were just magical. Like it shouldn't have happened as easy as it did.
Exactly. And that's like what Mike was talking about, when it's just a full blown yes. It's not just a yes. It is hell yeah, I'm going in. You know, that kind of yes. Yeah. And that's the shift that happens. Yeah. Do you have some words for closing, Mike?
I like toilet wands. I think Mike this has become a repetitious kind of thing for me in the last couple of days. It's talking about cleaning out the crap out of your life. And I think that's what Spirit just keeps hammering me about toilet wands. Right. So it's something that I got to pay attention, you know. But it's people sit and they'll...
Okay.
No.
All right. So... we all know what Mike is going to be manifesting for next week.
Lots of toilets.
Clean toilets. Clean toilets.
Clean toilets.
Or toilets too clean.
That's right. By God, for the next 6 weeks, no matter where I go, I'll go to Bob Evans for lunch, but by God, there will be a clean toilet.
What's up? I got it.
Da-da-da.
Okay. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, panel members. Manifestation next week. Yes, we'll have toilet wands, I'm sure. We'll see you next week, Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
Happy New Year.
Namaste.